Grubble, and today I'm making a bit of a random tutorial, but this is on making pixel trees, and it should be a pretty quick one that helps you to, I guess, learn how to make trees that you're pretty satisfied with, hopefully. And that's about all, so I guess let's just get started. But before that, if you'd like to hit the like and subscribe buttons, that'd be great. Let's move on. Alrighty, so the first thing we're going to want to do is set the canvas size to something that gives us a little more space. I set mine to 200 by 200 because that gives me enough space to create a tree that's not too big and not too small either. It limits me just enough. And what I do next is just draw a straight line upwards, which creates sort of the skeleton for the trunk of the tree. This will allow us to sort of have a rough idea, and we'll keep creating more complicated versions of this until it becomes a real detailed tree. So now that we've got this central line, let's start creating leaves going out from there. We can go about doing this in a lot of ways, so I'll give you a couple of examples. Here are 6 ideas for trees that you can use if you want, but don't feel limited to these. First, we've got a pointy looking pine tree type of leaf. And then next is a more fluffy version of that. After that, we've got some more normal oak tree type of leaves or something. And then a willow tree thing. After that, we've got some pointy leaves and some more pine tree needly type of things. But yeah, you can try out all kinds of things. Just see what you end up liking. Now back to my tree. I went with the pointy pine tree type. So this is just a very rough version, but we will be improving it soon. And remember, when you're making the rough sketch, it doesn't have to look too good. Just focus on the shape for now. Now that we've got the rough sketch done, I'm going to create a new layer and make the one with the tree on it partly invisible. Now we can draw on this new layer and make the leaves fancy and nice. Now you might be watching this and wondering, how does he know where to put the leaves and what to do and whatever? Well, this took me a long time to master, so I'd recommend just trying to draw lots of trees and you'll get it down eventually. Hey, look, what's that? Looks like you've got a finished tree! Well, not really. We've still got to do colors and stuff. If you're wondering about some stuff, I'll clear it up now. These leaf clusters, I chose for them to be there because those areas were looking kind of blank. And at the bottom of the tree I made it curved slightly so that it looked more natural. If you're still confused about some stuff about making trees, just ask me in the comments. I reply to pretty much all of them. But anyways, look how far you've gotten. I think you deserve a chicken break. That's enough. Chicken break is over. Let's get back to drawing. Now we're gonna pick colors. Some people think this is sort of difficult, so I'll make it as easy as I can for you. First we want our basic tree color. There are so many shades of green to pick from, but any will work. You can even go close to blue or yellow if you want, or something crazy like purple or pink. Do whatever you want. That's the fun part of art. So now I'm picking the color I want to shade it with. I made this color sort of bluish, so that my tree would be more colorful. If you keep it green and only darken it, it might look more dry, which might be what you're going for, so it's up to you. So if you want, you can stop adding colors here, with just a normal color and a shading color. But you could also add a lighter color. And if you want, you can go even farther, with colors in between each of them. That's what I'm going to do with my tree. I usually find it easiest to start with the shading color before you do anything else, so that's what I'm going to do here. And I'm just putting it anywhere where the leaves meet the rest of the tree, and also where I feel like one layer of leaves should cast a shadow on another. See right here where this layer of the tree ends? Well, I'm going to create a shadow across this gap. I just create some leaves with my shading color, and then I fill it in underneath and make it a thicker shadow. I repeat this for every layer of leaves. sometimes I connect these middle clusters too. Here's the finished shading. You could definitely call your tree done here, but I'm going to make it fully detailed, just so you can see what that's like. So I pick my brightest color and use it for highlights now. Sometimes when people are doing highlights and shading on an art piece, they tend to think of it as a 2D object, when you really want to think of it as something 3D, because you don't want it to look all flat and stuff. So to make all these light-colored leaves, I've just made my brush 2 pixels wide instead of 1. And if the leaves are in the middle, I make them sort of straight up, and if they're to the sides, on the right or the left of the tree, I make them sort of slanted. This makes it look 3D, and like your tree is round instead of flat. I think imagining your drawing as a 3D thing really helps to improve your art, but it can take a lot of practice, so just keep trying. Now we've finished the lighting, and this is another point where you can stop if you want, but I'm going to keep going. As you can see right now, we've only got the 2 extreme colors, the really bright one and the really dark one. And I think a good technique for shading an art piece is to start with these, the basic light and dark tones, and then you can sort of blend between them. But yeah, let's move on to the next part. So now I'm going to take my second darkest color and just start adding it in. I usually add some dark color on the left and right of the tree because it gives the tree some more depth. I also add some little clumps of it underneath the shadow so that it sort of blends in better. We now have 5 colors total, if you're including the black. I think this second darkest color is really useful for adding little details that you want to include but don't want to stand out too much, so just keep that in mind. And with that done, let's move on to the final color. This is our second brightest one. One thing you might notice is that in these shadows we still have these really bright leaves and they kind of stand out too much. So that's what this color can be useful for. We can also use this color to blend the leaves into the base green of the tree. When you're blending them, make sure to keep with the direction of the original leaf. Our tree is almost finished. Now all we need to add is a trunk, and then we'll be done. Trunks can be short, long, thick, or skinny, with like lots of branches. There's so many choices, and I know I always say this, but it's really up to you what you think looks best. For my tree, I'm going to go with a long and skinny trunk, because I think that looks pretty cool. For colors, I'm going to pick sort of a rich brown, and you get this by going into the red territory rather than orange. For my shading color, I'm going to pick a sort of purplish color, and this is because of a technique in pixel art and other art called hue shifting, which I'll talk about in later lessons, but it's basically just where you take the color and make it darker, but also move it towards the color blue on the color wheel. Now, somehow I forgot to film the whole part where I was making the trunk, so I'll just explain it now. Also, you might notice this tree has slightly different colors than the one we were working on before. I can't find the original tree, so this is just an alternate version of it, but it's still basically the same on the trunk. Anyways, back to the trunk. So you can see now that I've added one more color. Now we have a basic brown, a slightly darker one, and the darkest one. Like with leaves, there's a lot of ways to texture your trunk, but for mine I sort of went with a crackled and rough, blocky texture thingy. I don't know how to describe it. But for this part, my best advice is to just look at trees and think about how their trunk is made up, or what texture their trunk is made up of, I guess. So now your tree is done. Congratulations! But maybe you're not happy with how it turned out. That's normal. I did a bunch of failed trees before I was happy with one. With art, I think if you draw anything enough, you'll be able to master it. So give it another go and I'm sure you'll improve. But before you do that, you should go outside and look at some trees. That's a really good way to get inspired. I'll put some trees on the screen right now in case you're too lazy. And here are some examples of really nice pixel art trees. All of these pixel art trees have very different styles from the tree I showed you how to make. So if you're watching the tutorial and think, I want to do it a different way, then by all means do that. My way isn't the best way. So next time you're watching the tutorial, keep in mind that even though this person is teaching you, they aren't a master. You should make your own choices and not rely on others to make them for you. But anyways, back to the tree I made. I decided to take it and put it in the background of the game I'm working on, called The Very Above. And I guess that's the end of this tutorial. This video literally took me months to edit, so I really hope you enjoyed it. If you want more tutorials in pixel art, subscribe. I'll be trying to make them faster than this one. Thanks for watching. Bye!